Hey, it's Monday night and time for VoiceOver Body Shop. Dan Leonard here. George is in.
Way out in Colorado.
All right, out where it's snowing and stuff. We are going to geek out tonight because we've got as a great guest the one and only Mike DelGaudio, the booth junkie. And boy, this is going to be really interesting. As somebody else who knows a lot about voiceover equipment. And we have a couple of questions and some bleary-eyed stuff from VO Atlanta, which I think George and I are both bleary-eyed from. Anyway, it's all coming up
Exactly.
right now on VoiceOver Body Shop.
Two men, twin sons from different mothers, with a passion for voiceover recording technology and the desire to make recording easy for voice actors everywhere. Together in one place. George Whittam, the home studio engineer to the stars, a Virginia Tech grad with an unmatched knowledge of all the latest gear and technology in voiceover today. Dan Leonard, the home studio master, a voice actor with over 30 years experience in broadcasting and recording, and a no-holds-barred myth-busting attitude for teaching you how easy it is. Together, to bring you all the latest technology. Today's voiceover superstars, and leading the discussion on how to make the most of your voiceover business. This is VoiceOver Body Shop.
VoiceOver Body Shop is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, home of Harlan Hogan signature products. Source Elements, makers of Source Connect, Source Connect Pro, and Source Connect Now. VO2GoGo.com, everything you need to become a successful voice artist. VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for VO success. The VO Dojo, take your voiceover career all the way. J. Michael Collins Demos, when quality matters. And by VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your voice actor website shouldn't be a pain in the butt.
And now, live from their super secret multimedia studio in Sherman Oaks, California, here are George Whittam and Dan Leonard.
Hey, good evening. I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is VoiceOver
Body Shop.
or VOBS.
Yes!
Hey, there he is up there in Colorado. How's it?
Hey, everybody.
How's it going out there today? Up at 1,000 feet or 5,000 feet or more.
Yeah, we are over a mile high here in Boulder. I'm here at Maxine's house, and it is a blustery, super chilly and really windy time right now. I mean, the winds that get up here are borderline scary, making the approach into DIA a little bit more exciting. The flight last night was really good until you got into that last 100 miles or so. It got bumpy, and the Southwest pilot, man, those guys are good. That plane, you couldn't even tell when the wheels hit the ground. It was really amazing.
Yeah, well, if he's in all that turbulence, he's like, an easy landing, it's just pull it back and stuff. Anyway, tonight on our show, Mike DelGaudio is joining us. Maybe you're familiar with his videos, Booth Junkie. This guy has everything you could possibly ever need for a home voiceover studio or some really nice studios. They're really cool little videos that he does, and he has a lot of them, and he's got his own YouTube channel. So we'll be talking with him in a little bit. Maybe we'll let him sneak in on some of our tech questions in a little bit. And, but we're going to also talk about VO Atlanta because, well, gee, we were only there like the past 3.5 days. It's not like nothing happened, although you were sequestered away there in that booth.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. I talk about that in the video.
Okay,
so
cool.
We'll get into that.
Very good. All right. Well, with all that taken care of, it's now time for
VoiceOver Body Shop presents the VOBS. VoiceOver Extra News. All the information you need for a successful voiceover career.
time for the VoiceOver Extra News. Sleep. Well, this past weekend's VoiceOver Atlanta conference is another one for the VO history books, with over 650 attendees and 4 days of learning, networking, and partying. It was indeed a blast. And if you were there, our question for you tonight is, did you catch up on your sleep yet? Baggy eyes can be expected in the mornings at such a busy event, but now, back home, are your mind and throat rested for performing at your best? Well, you might have met the one and only Natasha Marchukwa at VO Atlanta. She is a VO pro who confesses that she needs 8.5 hours of sleep every night to feel and perform her best. And in an article now on VoiceOver Extra, Natasha gives us 10 tips, 10, for getting this required rest. Here's a highlight of her advice. Number 1, your sleep routine. Go to bed at the same time every night, 7 nights a week. 2, clear your mind with fresh air, exercise, and yoga. All right. Keep a journal. Write out your thoughts to leave them on the page. All right. 4, use guided meditation. 5, avoid sugar and caffeine before bed. 6, do not drink alcohol before bed. It's full of sugar and other things. 7, get rid of light in your sleeping environment, LED and otherwise. 8, keep the room temperature at cool to comfortable. Do not use electronics. That's number 9. Do not use electronics up to 1 hour before bed, except if you've just been on the VOBS podcast and not playing Words with Friends. 10, and more about your sleep routine, wake up at the same time every morning. Thank you, Natasha. Always great advice from her. We wish everyone a good night's sleep tonight, and tomorrow, be sure to read Natasha's full article and hundreds more at voiceoverextra.com, your daily resource for voiceover success. Well, have you recovered yet? Now, you only got back 2 hours, right?
I got a solid night's sleep last night, and we made up a lot of sleep, and it's just a 2-hour difference in time, not a big problem. So there was a lot to do at that event, and so many activities. It was just an amazing time. But to me, the most important thing was the ability to pull off some pretty important recording sessions. That was my job at the event. I was running a studio for Source Elements, and this video clip we have, I get to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at it. Roll it.
Nice. Very nice.
So what went on in the studio? You said you had some interesting stories of recording people at the conference.
It's cool because I am a little bit sequestered away. It's a room that's purposely chosen to be as far away from everything else as possible. And they picked a room that's a little bit of a challenge in itself because it's a room that's in the center aisle. Mm-hmm. So we have double doors flanking the room either side. Not the greatest situation. It took us a little while to figure out how to lock it down, make it, we put signs up all over the place, be quiet, which, how well that works. But even with that, we're using these Vocal Booth to Go soundproofer booths, which they feel like when you pull the flap open to go inside, it feels like you're going to put on an X-ray the lead thing you wear in the X-rays.
It goes, thump.
And it's real heavy.
Yeah.
And one guy said it feels like a flak jacket, from the military. It's very heavy. It's made out of mass-loaded vinyl. Yeah. And it does a darn good job, like really surprisingly well. And then that with a little bit of special sauce on the processing I'm doing, just a little bit of seasoning on the expander, it does a good job. And, I can't not mention the session I did for Maxine Dunn because that ironically was the star of the day yesterday. It was an hour and 10 minutes, Source Connect, new client. So, we really wanted it to go well. She was supposed to be in Denver, couldn't be. So the studio in Denver allowed us to remote in. So there were a lot of little things that made it kind of a special session.
That's one of those things where the old saying, if you want voice work, book a flight.
Holy cow. I'm telling you, for Maxine, that has never been more the case. You know what we're going to do every month?
Make a
plane send an email to your agent saying I'm out of town.
Yeah.
Because that's going to get you more work, I'm telling you. She's off camera, but it went exceedingly well. It really did. I mean, I was Maxine's just a total pro. It was one of those sessions where it's a 30-second spot, but the client has to get approval. The client wasn't physically in the studio. The producers were. Is that right, Maxine? So the producers were giving all the direction and everything, and then they would say, okay, let's lay it in. Then you'd hear it with the music, and then they would say, okay, we like that. Now we need to get approval. They'd send it to, I guess, MP3. I don't know what. And it was just, it took a lot of patience, especially on her part. And she stood in that booth she is such a pro. She doesn't move her feet from where she's standing for that whole session because she wants to be sure she's always on mic in the right spot.
In those shoes?
And those shoes. That's discipline. I wouldn't be able to do that. But yeah, we pulled it off. And Source Connect did the job. And then we even had Telos Zephyr down there using that VISDN system, which we've had at the ready, but there's been no call for it. ISDN studios aren't using it the way they used to.
It only happened. We predicted 6-7 years ago that it would be gone in 2 years.
Yeah, we figured 2020 was when AT&T says we're pulling the plug.
Right.
So who knows? We're all kind of getting ready for that, but there's been no call for it. But we've done phone patches, self-directs, auditions, everything from telephony stuff to Rebecca Davis just did some stuff for a video game. She was cackling and laughing, and
she's always like that. But it's
right. We did it all in that studio. So it's been exciting to pull off that stuff, and for me to be the engineer, I never get to do that stuff anymore. I'm always the tech, so it's been interesting and fun.
You're always the guy crawling behind everybody's desk.
I know. Yeah, it's been nice to just chill.
It's always fun to do that.
Take one.
Yeah. We also wanted to demonstrate the acoustics in here.
Oh yeah, the acoustics in this room are rather they are what they are.
Here, let's do a test here.
Okay.
Can we clap our hands?
Holy crap, are you guys hearing that? We're getting this crazy ping pong because we have parallel drywall hard surfaces on either side, and it's boing! You get this crazy slapback. Like a room like this, all they would have to do is scatter some panels on one wall.
A couple of gobos, that'd be great.
Be great. The drapery
if the drapes were closed,
the drapes
that would
are
help.
helping a bit. Yeah. But we get a kick out of that stuff.
Well, that's what we do is we go and we sniff around and we're like, what's going on in this room? And we don't use big complex calculations. I'm sure sometimes if you send something to Oralex or they'll do these big calculations and it's like
there's online calculators. Yeah.
The only thing you got to use is your ear. It's usually pretty simple. This is where the mic is. My ear is at the same place. You're going to hear what it's hearing. Only it's hearing more because it's not filtering out all the things that our brain filters out. So anyway, there's been a couple of great panels. I haven't attended any of the X sessions.
Right.
Those
are the paid sessions that are above and beyond the expense of the actual conference.
Right. And but I've been to a couple of panels. There was a great panel yesterday that J. Michael Collins, one of our fine sponsors, did on online casting, and it was outstanding. It really was. And it brought up the subject that everybody's talking about, that is there room in the marketplace for competition for other casting sites? And Matt Dubois, who's been on our show from Voice Casting Hub, great entrepreneur. He jumped right in and did it. And Paul Strickford.
He's not here, is he? Matt Dubois?
Yeah. He
was here. He is here?
He was here,
cool.
He was here yesterday. And
that thing's really hit the ground running, hasn't it?
I'm suddenly
Isn't
getting
that what
access.
Isn't that what the major agents picked up on?
They all picked up on it. Not all of them, but many of them.
But many.
And
enough to have some momentum.
Well, I'm getting auditions that I never had access to before on VoiceBank. I wasn't that small cadre of people who were like, in the corner, like, we're all by ourselves here.
Yeah.
And now it's much more wide open, and the independent agents with the Agents Alliance are feeding stuff in there, and suddenly there's a network job that's coming over here, and there's other big stuff that's not $50 or something like that.
So the guys you've called in the past the lunch pail voice actors are going to benefit,
and they already are. So
that's
the whole voice bank thing, actually, as I suspected at the time, was actually of great benefit to us. So we actually owe Voldemort and some thanks for totally, messing up the market. Sometimes when you have a
disruption,
sometimes you just got to play 52 card pickup, and eventually everything, or as Tony Robbins used to say, out of chaos comes order.
Yeah. That's kind of what that's about. And 2017 was a year of chaos.
It definitely is. Certainly the last 6 months of it was. Let's see. There was a round rates roundtable I was just at that WOVO was running, which was very interesting. Brad Newman told a story about how he had an agent who was still doing business with Voice Bank, and he said, "I'm not going to work with you if you're doing that." He didn't say don't work with them. He says, "I'm not going to work with you," and he fired them.
Wow.
So, hopefully they're getting the thing. The whole thing that everybody seems to be finally gelling around is this idea that people have to have the courage to talk to the people who pay their rent and pay their bills and buy their food, their clients. It's a risky thing to do. But how do you do your casting? Are you working with voices.com? Do you realize what they do?
Yeah.
And show them the evidence. There was a dossier put out the other day, some financials, and there's a lot of other, very damning evidence about what they're doing. But let them decide.
Yeah.
And it's been very, very effective. And it
seems to have definitely, I don't know if the word tainted the conversation at this conference, but it's definitely been the topic of a lot of conversations.
Yeah. Well, they aren't here. Because apparently a couple of years ago, it was made quite clear by those attending that they were not very welcome.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that was interesting. But the best part of any conference is all of the discussions and the presentations are great, but nothing beats having lunch with some old friends, people who you just want to sit down and talk with. How you been? What's going on? People who are leaders in the industry, and you get to sit down and talk with them, and they're interested in what you're doing, and it's just fun. But of course, and then just meeting people, like, well, you're a unique individual. I'd like to know more about you, and how can we help each other? And that's what these conferences are really all about. But this is a big one. There's 670 people.
Yeah.
And so congratulations to Gerald for really putting together a really fine thing here.
Yeah. Speaking of people we had lunch with, Gerald and Ron Minitria.
Really?
They were sitting right across from us, so we had a rare moment to kind of chat with them a little bit. And we thanked Gerald for having that booth set up there because it was crucial. Nice.
Meow! Snails like it too!
Before time began, there was VOBS.TV. Watch or else.
You're still watching VOBS?
Learn the latest in voiceover technology.
Hey, is 2018 going to be the year you take your voiceover practice to the next level? If not, you can go back to checking your email and all the stuff on Instagram and stuff while this message is airing. And I think there's also a little bit of leftover pizza in the fridge back there. But if you're serious about dramatically upping your level of success, I want you to go to a very special URL. That's a website. VO2gogo.com/VOBS. That's VO2gogo.com/VOBS. Join the hundreds of voiceover professionals and practitioners around the world who have decided to do something positive and invest in themselves for this new year. Learn voiceover from the ground up, or from wherever you are to where you want to be. VO2gogo.com/VOBS. Hey, let's make 2018 your year.
As a voice talent, you have to have a website. But what a hassle getting someone to do it for you. And when they finally do, they break or don't look right on mobile devices. They're not built for marketing and SEO. They're expensive. You have limited or no control. And it takes forever to get one built and go live. So what's the best way to get you online in no time? Go to voiceactorwebsites.com. Like our name implies, voiceactorwebsites.com just does websites for voice actors. We believe in creating fast, mobile-friendly, responsive, highly functional designs that are easy to read and easy to use. You have full control. No need to hire someone every time you want to make a change. And our upfront pricing means you know exactly what your costs are ahead of time. You can get your voiceover website going for as little as $700. So if you want your voice actor website without the hassle of complexity and dealing with too many options, go to voiceactorwebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
And we're back on VoiceOver Body Shop. You know, the flight back, actually, from VO Atlanta was interesting. There was 9 of us. Yeah, 9. There was 9 of us that were there, and we were, it was me and Yenny Alvarez and her husband and Rebecca Davis and Heather Costa and Sophia Cruz and Michelle Blanker and Diana Birdsall and myself, and so we were like from B9 to B26, and the rest of them were like C37 on Southwest. So we go running into the back of the plane, and we start throwing all these suitcases and jackets across these seats, and people are walking by and going, so I
nicely done.
Yeah.
So you actually did want to sit next to each other on a plane?
We did. We had 9 of us together. There were the 3 behind us, and and I was in the front row, and then the other gals were on the other side. None of the other gals wanted to sit with me for whatever. They all wanted to gossip and talk, and I was just sort of like sitting there looking out the window the whole time. And we were really.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
By then, haven't you had enough of each other?
Well, that's the way it turned out. We were really rowdy in the terminal. The second we got on the plane, it was a long way. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. I slept on the plane.
Yeah, I tried to. But anyway, we get lots of questions from our fans. And why do they want to ask us questions? Because George and I, we know what we're talking about, right?
We know some stuff, a thing or two, a one-on-one, a thing or two. What's that line? We know a thing or two because we make up a thing or two? I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
We know stuff,
right,
and we'll help you.
Oh, like the farmer's commercial. We know how to thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. That's what it is. Yeah. Anyway, and you and I have seen a thing or 3 when it comes to home studios. Anyway, George and I do this for a living. We're home studio experts, and you can't do much better than George here because he's been doing it a while. How would they get in touch with you, and what can you offer them?
Well, I am at georgethetech.com, or if you like short, nerdy URLs, it's georgethe.tech. And I have all my services available to you there. You can book support calls. You can book on-site visits if you're in LA. You can book offline services. I call them virtual engineering services, where you send me your audio, and I send back the resulting whatever it is, being from a sound check to building up processing presets to drawing an entire recording studio design, whatever it is. Lots of different ways to work with me. And Dan also does some of this kind of stuff over at, where do you go, Dan?
Homevoiceoverstudio.com. And there you'll see everything that I can do for you, talk about how I can work with you. And I also have a way for you to send me audio. Just click on the specimen collection cup at the bottom of the home page, and it takes you to a Dropbox. Send me some raw audio. There's some instructions exactly how to do that. So, and boy, do we love doing what we do. Nothing more fun than going into people's houses and going into their closets and stuff and seeing what they have there.
Equipment. Yes.
Yeah, equipment-wise. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, So we got a couple of questions. You want to get this first one here?
Yeah, this one's from Mike McVicker, which is a new name to me. Very cool. Welcome, Mike. He's very new to the voiceover world and just purchased the Rode NT1A kit package. That's a mic that comes with a pop screen, a shock mount, maybe a mic cable. What name and model for a preamp and interface do you recommend, and why? The ands are in capital letters for emphasis.
Yes.
So I think what he's talking about, and maybe I could be wrong, but when he says a preamp and interface, probably he's talking about an audio interface, like a USB interface. That's also the preamp,
right?
Which is pretty much the only kind that we talk about on this show. Dan, why don't you start with your usual recommendations, and I'll give him my usual recommendations.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're probably pretty much the same. It depends on your budget and, how many features you want with it. If you're not good with features, then don't go for stuff that has all the features. But from the basic to all you really need, Focusrite makes a series of preamp interfaces that are really good, and then it makes some really, really good ones. But we're usually recommending either the Focusrite Scarlett 2 Little i2, the Scarlett 2 i2, or even, because you only need one microphone to do voiceover, the iTrack Solo, or the Focusrite Solo, I think they call it now.
They have the iTrack Solo and the Scarlett Solo.
Scarlett
Similar
Solo,
products.
Right. And they work with iOS devices too, which is really nice. And then I personally, right now, I'm using a Yamaha AGO3 at Mr. Woodham's recommendation, and I've had no problems with it. It just sounds sweet, and it has.
It is really nice.
Yeah. And they make one with 2 inputs called the AGO6. But
if you want, that's a few more bells and whistles on that one.
Yeah, but and you get that if you know how to use those bells and whistles. And I found some uses for it in live webcasting and stuff like that. Not necessarily specifically for voiceover, but maybe, you have that capability. And then one I think we probably both agree on is the Audient ID4, which is really nice. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the Audient ID4 would be I'd say the best sub $200 or about $200 mic preamp interface available, period. It just, in terms of build quality, sound quality, it nails it. And it doesn't, and again, no over the top amount of features, doesn't even use a driver, at least on a Mac. It's just plug and play. And I love that about that unit. My other sub $100 unit of choice is the Steinberg UR12. That's very similar to the Scarlett in terms of just a one mic preamp interface. But the cool thing about the UR12 is it also has a loop back feature. And it's not on the box. I wish it was a push button that was really convenient. It's actually in a web drive. It's actually in a sound driver. So on Mac, it's in the system preferences. There's actually a little sound drive window. You pop it open, check a box, and you get loop back for playing back your last take.
Yeah, just like the Yamaha AGO3 and 6 too, which actually has a switch on it, which is kind of nice.
I mean, I'm not, if for someone that's new, these are the things we're going to recommend to you. For road warriors, which you are not yet, the MicPort Pro is a really fantastic ultra portable device. I just wouldn't recommend it as your daily driver. It's very small and very light, and it's hard to just manage it because it just falls off the table. It's so small and light. So these other units you'll probably have better results with.
Yeah. And of course, there's the ultimate, which the holy grail that a lot of people are gravitating to right now, which is the Apollo Twin, which is made by Universal Audio and Universal Labs Audio. Or is it?
Yeah, talk about features.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez. I guess if you're an engineer, and I mean, because this is what they use in a lot of really good professional studios now, because it allows for multi-tracking and inputting and taking out and queuing effects and all sorts of stuff. It really is a marvelous unit, and it ain't cheap.
No, they start at $499. They have a new one. It's called the Arrow, the Universal Audio Apollo Arrow. It's only Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah,
and there aren't a lot of computers with Thunderbolt 3. All the new MacBook Pro, not MacBook Air, by the way, the new iMacs and the MacBook. Let me think. The Mac Pro, those have Thunderbolt. No, not even the Mac Pro has Thunderbolt 3. I beg your pardon.
Wow.
So it's the only select ones. You have to really do your research.
It's a real niche little thing you want to use.
It is.
They must know something everybody else doesn't, though, about the future of Thunderbolt. But that's
they took a big chance.
Yeah.
They developed a product that requires it, and it's. They invested in a lot of money. They put a lot of money, obviously, investing in it and hoping that Thunderbolt 3 technology just becomes commonplace. So
Yeah.
those are some of the ones that we like. And I don't know if Mike is patiently sitting and listening and waiting to chime in, but Mike DelGaudio might be listening in, and he may have an idea too. Are you listening, Mike?
I am.
Hey.
And talking about, I mean, the interface that I am always in love with is I've used it for a long time, is the Audient ID22. You guys mentioned the ID4,
yeah,
before, and I liked the ID22 because it allowed me to expand and to grow into this studio. I didn't start with this studio. I was able to grow into it, and so far I have not run into any bottlenecks feature-wise that have allowed me to expand and grow and be able to do more capable things. Not like having the two inputs, certainly for my channel, having the two inputs, two different mic inputs, super clean preamps, really feature rich. I love it. Durable.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. For doing your videos, having two mic inputs, if you're testing side to side mics, that's a big help.
Yeah. Really important for the videos for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I forgot. I think about the 22, but it's got a few more features than the 4. Okay, all right. Well, we got another question here from Deirdre Holly. Demos are meant to showcase what the VA can do. Read as reproduce. Okay,
the voice actor.
VA. She could have said voice actor.
The voice actor, I believe, is what. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway. We record demos in a full-blown professional studio. There's no way to reproduce the same sound on different equipment in a different environment. So why do we do demos with all the music background and all the mastering when it seems we should be putting out clean, crisp files to show what we can reproduce in our own studios rather than what we can pay a studio director producer to do? Wow, what a killer question that is.
Yeah.
That's something that I consider all the time. For commercial demos, there's, I can count on about 50 hands how many demo producers there are here in LA. And, and the funny thing is the guys that do a lot of them, you can tell who it is. Oh, that's a so-and-so demo, and that's a so-and-so demo. Because they do, I don't want to say overproduce, but a demo is not supposed to show off what the demo producer can do. It's supposed to highlight the person's voice. And, but it depends on who's hearing the demo. And it's like, some agents, if they want to hear a demo or a client going, well, that's just the voice. Where's all the production? Doesn't sound like a commercial. We don't know, because eventually, who's the ultimate person that makes the decision on who gets hired? It's not the casting director. It's not the, an agent. It's the client. And it's really a crapshoot as to who's actually listening to it. I'd say for an e-learning demo or a narration demo or clearly medical narrations and stuff, it should just be your voice. But you're trying to show people what you sound like on commercials in a commercial demo. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's the context.
Yes.
The client wants to hear you in context. They're not interested in knowing what you sound like in just the vacuum of your studio, because that's not what they're going to be hearing in the end. They're going to be hearing a full production mix.
Right.
So they just want to hear how you sound in context with a real production. So, and these are norms that have been established in the business, right? These are, maybe that would change someday, but right now these are the norms. This is what is expected. So we have to give them what they're looking for and what they're expecting, but we also have to be on trend. So we better know what they're looking for. And that's why you hire the best, demo producer you can find recommended to you, because they're on trend.
Right.
They know what people are looking for,
right.
Which is also why it's really, really risky to self-produce your demo as well.
Right. Especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, yeah, there's so many layers to that. I won't even get into it. But if you're starting out just doing phone systems, okay, that's pretty simple. It's just your voice over, that you can cut together and make a phone system demo. It's not a lot of production, but things that sound like they're on television or on a trailer or a movie trailer or e-learning, things that sound like they have a mix going on with music and other things. Yeah, that's really going to be tough to pull off yourself even if you know how to do it, you shouldn't probably do it. Like I was talking to Cliff Zellman for a bit. He was really proud of a demo he had just finished for someone, and he was playing it for me. And he reminded me that when he produces a demo, he does an entire commercial. Like if he has 5 spots in a demo, for example, he produces 5 complete spots,
right,
beginning to end.
And
I think J. Michael.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think J. Michael does that too.
Yeah,
if I recall.
I'm sure he's learned a thing or two from Cliff. I mean, really. I mean, what Cliff does, he records a whole commercial. He did my commercial demo, which I really love. And he just edited them down so they all fit together and show real good contrast and stuff. And he highlights, the voice actor's voice and not show off his production. His production is so good you don't notice it because it's showing off you. And that's, that's a good ad for Cliff there. That'll be $500, please. But anyway.
Hey, you know what? Cliff's a great guy. He's a friend of ours, and
absolutely,
it was a good reminder of why some demo producers take time. It takes them a while to put something together because of his approach.
Right.
But the results speak for themselves. They sound like real commercials because they basically are.
Right. Exactly. Well, if you've got a question for us, you can always write to us at VOBS.TV. And we'll get your question on like those fine viewers have done this evening. By the way, this is not my living room. Although I wish it was. We asked you guys to show us your booths. And so far we've only gotten 2, and we've shown those, although it was fun being in Jack DelGaudio's closet last week. Take a picture of your studio from a perspective of someone looking at it from walking in the door, and your studio could star here on VoiceOver Body Shop. And you can send that to the guys at VOBS.TV. Good timing there. All righty. Well, Mike DelGaudio is standing by incredibly patiently, and we're going to start to talk to him in just a minute or two, so stay right where you are. We'll be right back on VoiceOver Body Shop. Are you confused about how to set up and maintain a professional quality voiceover studio? No wonder. The information out there is mostly mythology. This is the best microphone to use. You have to have a preamp. You need a soundproof booth. This software is the best. Your audio must be broadcast quality. Consult with someone who knows the truth. Someone who's been there, in the trenches, doing voiceover for over 30 years. Someone with unparalleled experience with voiceover studios, who's worked with hundreds of voice actors and designed hundreds of personal studios. He knows how to teach and cares about your success. In one of the harshest environments known to voiceover, your home. Dan Leonard, the Home Studio Master. Separate myth from fact and get a handle on your personal voiceover studio. Contact the Home Studio Master at homevoiceoverstudio.com. Drop off a specimen of your dry audio for a free analysis.
Source Elements is proud to announce that ISDN is not dead. It will live on. Not in a bridge, but real ISDN. And VISDN lets any customer use their ISDN codec, their Telos Zephyr primarily, but whatever they got, as just with an internet connection. Full access to the existing ISDN network and continued access in the future past the dreaded 2020 supposed period when AT&T and others will be ending their ISDN services. VISDN is more flexible and it's more affordable than most traditional ISDN services, especially now. Competitive outbound dialing rates and free in-network calling means no usage charges between VISDN customers now and for all time. So tell your friends, get direct ISDN even if the local telco says it's not available. Travel with ISDN and don't rely on bridging. VISDN provides the lowest latency and with 2 internet connections, the most robust internet-based ISDN access. This is from Source Elements and it's backed by their excellent tech support. you really get the best of both worlds with VISDN. And I can tell you, we had it up and running at the booth in VO Atlanta and the recording studio. We tested it, and even in that case, we were using Wi-Fi. It still worked beautifully. So it's an amazing piece of technology. Well, we're going to be coming right back here with Mike DelGaudio right after this quick little break.
Business and good old-fashioned acting.
I really like your bracelet. It's awesome.
Hey, Paul, where did you get that watch?
That's really cool.
And a hamburger with no cheese, please.
Every Monday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on voiceoverbodyshop.com.
And we're back here on VoiceOver Body Shop, and time to introduce our guest and maybe show you a little bit of his work. Mike DelGaudio is a non-union voice actor out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In addition to radio and TV commercial work, you may have heard him narrate the New York Times Weekly on Audible, or as part of the regular troupe on the No Sleep podcast, a popular podcast that dramatizes horror stories. He also hosts the YouTube channel called Booth Junkie, in which he helps people set up their home studio so they can start to perform behind the microphone. Let's take a look at some of his stuff.
The Yeti is recording. The Yeti is recording. The Blue Snowball is recording. The Blue Snowball is recording. Camera 1 is recording. Camera 2 is recording. Let's synchronize everything. Rec. We're recording. There are 3 different kinds of pop filters that you can buy, and we'll look at some DIY type thingies that I've seen people do, and we're going to see their effectiveness. The first one is, sorry for the rumbles, there's going to be rumbles as I handle the microphone here. The first one is, there's going to be a nylon, inexpensive pop filter that is fabric. And I also have connected to the mic stand, we have a metal mesh pop filter. 2 different techniques, both in this pop filter format. And then thirdly, here it is. We also have the foam squishy sock wind thing that goes on there. 3 different approaches to keeping your breath from hitting the diaphragm. It's good to be in the booth. Good to be in the booth. We have a new microphone in here, one that I've never used before. This one has been loaned to me by a fellow booth junkie, Mikey. Mike. My man Mike loaned me his Blue Yeti Pro.
Wow. That's great stuff. Let's welcome to our show the booth junkie, Mike DelGaudio. Mike,
what's happening, guys?
Are you
so glad to be here?
You're on mic, aren't you? That's good.
I am.
Well, it's great to have you on. I've been watching your videos. It's great stuff. It's like our show, which were like over 305 episodes. You've done quite a few too. That's really great.
Yeah, I don't know what my count is. I've done quite a few for sure.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I gave you a little background on it, but tell you how where you're from and how you got into voiceover and the type of work you do.
Sure. Let's see. I'm new. I'm much newer to voiceover, voice acting than you guys are. I've been doing it for 7 years. I caught the bug. I sort of re-caught the bug much later in life. I thought I was going to be in broadcasting. I really wanted to be like a radio DJ when I was a kid. And then I went and sat in on a radio DJ's spot, a session at like a small AM radio station in Baltimore. And I was like, this is not for me. This doesn't look like nearly as much fun as I thought it was going to.
It's a lot of long, lonely hours, I'll tell you.
Long, lonely hours for no pay and no job security. And he's like, oh yeah, my stations have changed format and I've been fired 5 times. Like, well, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for me. And so I sort of walked away from that for a long time. And then I moved to Pittsburgh and rediscovered a love for it. I took a class just on a whim. I took a class and got in front of the microphone and just positively fell in love with it and went gung-ho, absolutely gung-ho, from knowing really not anything to studying. I bought my first microphone and I just studied, practice every single day. And it luckily it turned out through a series of serendipitous events, it worked out that people would start to give me money to talk into a microphone, which feels a lot like stealing sometimes because I enjoy it so much. And so it's what I've been doing now for 7 years.
Cool. What type of work do you specialize in?
I often just say, whatever words you want to put in my mouth, I'll say them to the very best of my ability. I tend to gravitate towards medium form narration. I've done a few audiobooks. I've said this before. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's a little bit of a marathon. I like the medium sprints. I like to do medium form. I love to do explainer videos. After I left the idea of going into broadcasting, I went into like corporate training for a long time. And I really super enjoyed corporate training, believe it or not, getting up in front of a group and teaching people a new skill, one that maybe they need to have or they really want to have, and just being up in front of a group. People seem to like the way I teach. And so I really enjoyed the corporate training of it. So things like explainers, corporate explainers, I love doing them, especially on technical subjects. I love doing those because it's stuff that I kind of know from past jobs and past lives. It's stuff that I like to gravitate towards too. Love reading the news for the New York Times. Love doing that. And I'm on a couple of different podcasts. I'm on the No Sleep podcast. I'm on a new one called Congeria that I really have enjoyed doing, where it's I get to act. But you asked me to say it and I'll say it. I don't care what it is.
And that's the attitude you got to have.
Yeah,
it's like,
sure.
And as long as the check clears, you've had a great day.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it.
So so you've been doing this for 7 years. Mm-hmm. How did you start doing these videos? What motivated that and how did that get rolling?
Sure. Let's see. It started when I was in the market for my whisper room. And I wanted to know before like most people now, I want to research how these things work. And before I'm going to spend a lot of money, I want to know about things. And I was trying to decide between a whisper room and a couple of the other different voice booths that are out there. And in this room where I am, my ceiling is low. And I wanted to make sure that I could put this booth in my room. And I was looking for, well, how does it go together? How do I put the ceiling on this thing? And I couldn't find it anywhere. So I took the plunge. I said, can you, when I went and bought this, because I bought it secondhand, I like buying things secondhand. So I had to measure it and it said, yes, it'll fit, but I have 2 inches of clearance. And so I bought it on a risk. And so I made my first video. I was like, well, I'm going to try and put this thing together. Let's see how it goes. And that was my very first video, was assembling this whisper room. And it re-sparked that corporate trainer part of it, teaching people. The thing that I get super jazzed about is helping people get over that initial learning curve. Going from noob to noob who knows what they don't know, I suppose is what it is. I don't know what I don't know too. I know that I don't know stuff. I like to help people get up that initial learning curve. Once you're in it, you can go be in it. But I love to teach. New subjects to people, really novices, and I love watching that light bulb go off. I really love doing that. And so making that first video sort of reinvigorate. I was like, I should make more of these. I really should make more of these. And it just sort of has snowballed, and now I'm really addicted to it. I really love making them.
Yeah. Well, it's clear that you're having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
How do you set up the camera to do this? It looks like you keep it stationary, using an iPhone, using a good camera. What are you using?
Let's see. Right now, I'm in my whisper room, but I have, in my videos, I have a Sony mirrorless A5000, like the budget mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. Mm-hmm. Right now, this is just a Logitech webcam, but it's on the outside of the glass of my whisper room. So that the camera's on the outside, so it doesn't hear anything. And luckily, the Whisper Room has a window, so I just shoot through the window, and I've got a couple of LED lights. It's all like Velcro to the outside of the outside.
Man, I got to tell you, that's pretty brilliant, because I was thinking about that's got to be a pretty big booth in order to get that perspective.
No.
And you just put the cameras on the other side of the glass, like duh. As long as you eliminate the. Do you have the cameras like completely flushed against the glass so you don't get any reflections?
Yep. I built, and so my computer screen is right on the outside of the glass too. I measured the glass and I went and found the exact right monitor that would fit very edge to edge on the glass here. And so that's on the outside, because the first monitor I had was hot. It was an LCD monitor, blasting heat. So this booth, the monitor was right here and it was like 110 degrees. It was killing me. I'm like, you sweat in these booths. Oh, look at me, I'm sweating now. You sweat in these booths. So as soon as I got everything on the outside of the glass, it really works. And so now everything, I built I bought one of those iron pipes with a VESA mount, and so I just made it just perfect, so it goes right up against the glass, and the camera is mounted right at the top of it. It's all like this one crazy contraption that I just built out of spare parts I got from
awesome.
Yeah,
sounds familiar to what we do around here.
Yeah, man. It's glued you together somehow. And
you know what? That's exactly the way I've done it. I'm figuring this out as I go, and I'll think this is perfect. What I got going, this is perfect. And then like 6 months out, I'm like, what would have been better if I had just done this other thing? So I never permanently modify anything. If I can attach it with Velcro, if I can just scooch things together, if I can do it with PVC that's just sort of squeezed together, I'll always do it that way. Do it that way. I never want to make permanent modifications to any of this stuff.
PVC,
because I'm always going to make it better.
Yeah. PVC is the greatest thing ever. And you can do all sorts of cool things with it. Sometimes you'll tell a client, "Are you good with PVC?" And they'll sort of look at you cross-eyed. No. It's really simple. You just need this blue glue. It makes you really wild, and so. But anyway,
great for prototyping.
Absolutely. So, what is this passion you have for gear? Can we classify you as a geek? I don't see a geek. I see someone who has a passion for gear.
I like your. I'm always in the pursuit of improvement, improving the sound, and I want to try everything. I just want to try it all, and to share it with people, because we all don't get a chance to use and listen to all these different microphones, and that was part of the genesis for me. Was I've got this thing, I'll share it with other people. I've got two of these things, I'll try to do them side by side and let people hear them. And so now it's turned into, I really get jazzed about trying new things. And I'm so incredibly grateful to all the people who watch my channel, because they send me their precious equipment. And they're like, "Mike, would you like to borrow this?" I'm like, "What? You're going to let me borrow your multi-$100 thing, sometimes multi-$1,000 thing? You don't know me?" And so I'm incredibly grateful. And so, now I'm like really a junkie. I'm really a junkie for just trying it out and seeing what might be best for me. How can I improve? What can I do better? Is this gonna help me make more money? Is it gonna help me sound better? Is it gonna speed my workflow? Any of those things. I'm always looking to improve.
Right. And that's usually the most important thing is what works best for you. But you've got to see all the choices, and you're presenting and that helps.
They always say go buy 2 microphones and return one of them, and I can appreciate that. It doesn't always feel like the best thing for me. I always feel bad, getting my spin on a microphone and then sending it back to somebody else. So if I can help other people, learn about these things and just share it. I'm into it.
What do you know about your viewers? Like, what are the kind of people? Because we know we have a really target audience. They're pretty much all voice actors.
Yeah.
They're getting into voiceover, or they're very busy voice actors that just like hanging out with us. What do you know about the audience? Where do people come from that watch your show?
Yeah, so my audience is actually much broader than I ever thought, and I know this. I don't look at analytics or anything like that, but I talk to them. They send me Facebook and YouTube messages and tweets and emails, and so I learn a lot about them. And for me, I have 2, maybe 3 groups of people that really gravitate towards what I'm what I'm doing is people that want to start voice acting and they really, don't know what to do. They like, I'm into this thing. I want to talk. I want to make stories. I want to make commercials. I want to do, I want to start talking in front of a microphone. And I don't know. They want to become voice artists, voice actors, voiceover folks, and they don't know what to do. That's one group. And the other group that really they talk to me a lot are the like Twitch folks, the streamers and the gamers that are trying to make their sound more competitive or better so they can attract more viewers for whatever it is that they're streaming. And a lot of them are like, well, I know that there's the Blue Yeti and I put that on my desk and all of a sudden I'm good because I saw some other streamer do it. And I try and help people understand, well, it's about the mic placement, the mic style, the patterns, all of these things can have a play. And so they tend, even though I'm not really a streamer, they tend to come and talk to me. So tons of gamers. And then, the third group is podcasters. A lot of people know me from the podcasts that I'm on. And so they want to start a podcast, improve their podcast, improve the sound of their podcast. And so they come over and they check my stuff out.
Yeah. So do any of the manufacturers know you're out there? Are they sending you stuff to test out and
they are,
and
yeah,
rave
they're
about?
Starting to. Yeah. In the very beginning, it was lots of the Chinese importers, the people with, and no slight to them. It's just, they're all from China. They're sending me stuff from like AliExpress. They were sending me a bunch of inexpensive things. But now, since I guess my audience is bigger, so I've been able to attract their attention. So now several companies have sent me things. Most recently, one of my viewers sent me a Lewitt microphone, which I didn't really know much about, the Lewitt 550 discontinued mic, but I did a video about it because I was interested in it. And the folks from Lewitt just reached out to me and they said, like, would you like to test some more mics on loan, but they sent me essentially one of everything. So all of a sudden I've got this whole big pile of microphones right over there. And I'm like, yeah, I want to try them all. Other companies, this microphone, a company out in LA that is a vendor sent me this microphone to test. And I disclose that during the videos. And I also disclose if it's just somebody who's loaning it to me and if it's a civilian who's loaning it to me as opposed to the business person. But yeah, some of the companies are starting to notice.
Well, that's good.
That's a Sanken. What is that mic?
This is the Sanken CU51 microphone sent to me by a company called Plus 24. That's a vendor out in California.
I'll tell you, it can get a little overwhelming, right? When they send you a bunch of stuff and, some of them can be very patient. I have to admit, I've been sitting on a review for a product now for probably 4 months because it's taken me so long to do the actual production. And I feel so guilty that it's taken me this long to do it. But when they send you all that stuff, it puts some pressure on you to shoot video of it all.
And I try and set expectations, and it's not going to be not less than a month. I might have it longer. There's some things that I got late last year that I haven't made videos because I try and prioritize the civilians that have sent me their stuff. I try and do that faster. So the companies, they're going to wait. They're going to wait unless they're like, we're trying to do it for a deadline or something like that. Then I'll try and accommodate that. But the companies will always come after the fans. I don't know if they're fans, but the people who send me things, they'll always come first.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, where you been? But we're talking with Mike DelGaudio, the booth junkie. And if you have a question for him, all you have to do is put it in the chat room, and Jack Daniel is sitting around somewhere, but looking at the chat room, and he is relaying those questions to us. So if you want to ask him something, go in the chat room and do that.
Also Facebook.
And
the
Facebook
feed is, you can make comments on the Facebook page as well where the show is, and Jack is also monitoring that. So we got you both covered because I understand the show's so popular tonight, our chat room actually got full.
Wow.
So if you're wanting to make comments or send in questions, do it on the Facebook page.
All righty.
Cool.
What is your favorite piece of gear, Mike, besides the CAD E100S?
My favorite piece of gear? That's a toughie. Is it a microphone? I love my Sennheiser 416 microphone. I love that microphone. Super versatile. I love it. I love my Audient ID22. We mentioned that earlier. I really like that. It's been super reliable. It never breaks. It's expanded to everything I've needed it to do, from having a talk back and monitors and 2 headphone feeds, and I can do everything. I can do a session where I'm the control person and I have a talent in the booth, or I can do it all myself. I really like that. And people who know my channel know I'm a huge proponent of the Zoom H5 portable device, because it's super flexible, especially for people who are new and they're trying to set up a booth and they got to move away from their computer for the noise. The Zoom H5, because it can be an interface, because it can be a portable recorder, I'm a big proponent of that. It's been really invaluable for my channel. So, I mean, who's my favorite kid? I don't know. I got
how many you have?
I got 2 kids. They're both my favorites.
Yeah, you can play them off each other. It works really well. I've done that too. Yeah. But what is this thing you have for the Cat E100S? I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, I have one, and it's a great mic. Some people have other things to say about it, but you seem to really like it.
I do.
You compare it to everything else, right?
Yeah, I do. I tend to use it a lot. And, like many people, I had to have mine fixed. But once I had it fixed, the way it sounded, I think, is on par with even the most expensive microphones that I've tested. I think for voiceover, I think the pattern, being the supercardioid, it's forgiving of the less than optimal booth. So I think it's one that you can grow with. I think it's got a really robust sound. I think it's very flattering to the voice. I think it's got a great low end. It's not at all hissy, sibilant, or anything like that. A common thing that people email me about their own mics. They say, "Man, the S's sound like static. What can I do?" Whereas the E100S, for me, it's always been just it's great. It just sounds wonderful. Sounds very natural. I don't know. I just love it so much.
Yeah. What monitors do you have in your studio when you're outside the booth?
Right now it's the basic JBL LSR 305s, but I also have a pair of they're discontinued JBL 8-inch. The model number just flew out of my head, but they were these ones that came with a microphone, so it would do all the EQing for you. So you just put the microphone in the listening position, and you played a bunch of sounds, and it would do the EQing for you, and then it'll come to me at some point, hopefully. Because now it's flown out. It's an LSR like 2635.
You know what? Go look during the break.
Yeah,
and you can tell us later.
Yeah.
Don't rack your brain. We need you for another a few minutes here.
Don't wear you out.
George?
I've already forgotten what we were talking about. Let's go.
Genelec came out with their own system of that, amazingly, years later after JBL did. And I just saw it demoed at a friend's studio, Byron Wagner's.
I can't wait to see that.
It's pretty fancy stuff, but boy, it's a whole different price category. Way more expensive.
No doubt. But I think you mentioned this last week, George. Buying secondhand for me has been the absolute key to a lot of this stuff. I'm just a small time voice actor. My budget's as small as anybody else's. So learning how to have Craigslist alerts come to me for all those things. Sometimes I wait years for things to come by, and hopefully I'll have the money for it. So buying secondhand, if you're willing to take the risk, you can really save a lot of money. That's how I've been doing it.
George, you got a question?
Oh yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about hardware, but software.
Yeah.
It's pretty well known by now that if anybody knows you that you love one particular digital audio workstation software. That's Reaper.
Reaper.
How far along was it before you discovered Reaper? When did you discover it?
I discovered it reasonably early, thank goodness. I started with Audacity, and the hard part for me for Audacity was the destructive editing, especially for somebody who like knew Photoshop and was like, I can non-destructively edit a photo. Why can't I non-destructively edit my audio? So Audacity, some of the things that it would do was hard. The very first interface I bought secondhand, was a Presonus one, and it came with a copy of Studio One, I think.
Right.
And it was okay. It was okay, but it was really for music. It was, really, really optimized for making music, and I have no interest in making music. It wasn't my thing. And so, and then I heard, people talking about Reaper, and it's really, really customizable. And I'm a geek. I was a former life, I was a programmer, so technical things didn't scare me, and I liked that I could have, I could program it in Python if I wanted to. And anyway, I don't really do that, but being able to do anything I want in the DAW and reconfigure it however I want, so that I can totally optimize it for exactly the way that I want to work, and create the macros that I need that match exactly the workflow that I have in my head, and that I can improve those workflows. Reaper has been an absolute game changer for me, because my Reaper might not look like anybody else's, but it's mine, and it's totally exactly tailored to exactly the way that I want to work, until I think of the next thing. And then whatever the next thing is, it will work for that too. And that's what's really been amazing for it, is it might not, out of the box, it might not have every bell and whistle. It's got darn near every bell and whistle, but I think, Pro Tools and they probably, and Nuendo, they probably have more things. They definitely have more things, but so far I have not been stymied in any way to bend Reaper to my will, rather than me bending to Reaper's will. I bend it to my will. So I'm a fan, total fan. And for the price, for the most of the world, $60. Come on, $60. How can you go wrong?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
love it.
Yeah. If you're joining us again, we're talking with Mike DelGaudio, the booth junkie. Maybe you're familiar with some of his YouTube videos about home studio equipment. It's really cool. Again, if you got a question, throw it in the chat room and we'll throw it to him. I got one more question before we take the break, though. With all the video that you do, has it led to any professional voice work?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. People... Part of the benefit that I've learned from working on YouTube is it's as much my marketing as anything. Before I started doing this channel, I was a voice for another channel that has since gone on hiatus, but that generated a lot of work for me. And then starting to make these videos, it has generated a lot of work for me, because I get to demonstrate that I know what I'm doing. I don't have to say, hey, you should hire me because I know what I'm doing. Hey, you should hire me because I've got a good voice for you. I get to demonstrate that, one, how my studio sounds, exactly in the rawest state, how my studio sounds. I get to demonstrate that I know what I know, and I sound how I sound, and you can see sort of how I am naturally, and hopefully it's a voice that you like for your project. I know I'm not right for every project, but I've gotten a lot of work. A lot of work gets generated just because I get to demonstrate. And I think that's, I don't know a lot about marketing, but for me, that's been a really good marketing aspect for my business, is I just make something that I really like, and I demonstrate my proficiency, my expertise at it. And if that resonates with you, then possibly you'll hire me. I don't cold call. I don't send emails out about myself or anything like that. I try and make the things that I want to make, and hopefully it resonates with some people, and maybe they'll want to hire me. I hope.
Well, that's good to hear, because you put a lot of time and effort into it, and you want to see, you enjoy doing it, but you want to see some results from that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Again, put it in the chat room if you've got a question for Mike DelGaudio, the booth junkie. I have to ask you why you came up with that name, but we'll talk to him in just a minute, right after this.
Skittles, taste the rainbow.
She has fought for those who don't have a voice.
The National Zoo. Because sometimes you just need to stroke a llama.
Instagram, Download it and start embarrassing your teenagers today.
Resolve spot and stain. Because the dog's gonna drag his butt on the carpet. He just is.
$400 million. That's what the mayor wants you to pay for a new basketball stadium. Chickens were made to be fried.
Sorry, buddy.
KFC.
Engage the droid army with this Lego Star Wars Republic fighter tank.
What? You've never seen a girl kill a troll? GameStop.
Hey, I'm the cat meme guy. Come on, you know you love cat memes. Instagram. What's your thing?
Hi, it's J. Michael Collins, and these are just a few examples of the first-class demos my team and I are producing. If you'd like to have something similar, visit jmcvoiceover.com and click on the Demo Production tab to find out more.
It's actually Paul that said that.
All righty. Hey, we're back here to talk about one of our favorite people, somebody who has supported this show. You know, George, it's almost been 7 years. It'll be 7 years in March.
7 years.
You know, but Harlan Hogan is a great guy. But not only is he a great guy and a great voice talent, he also has a great website, voiceoveressentials.com. And if you need something for your home studio, he's got it. Everything that Mike DelGaudio is talking about tonight, if you need it, if you go to voiceoveressentials.com, you can probably find it there. Well, maybe not some of those higher end mics, depending on how you buy some of those, but all the other things he has, plus his signature series products like the VO1A voice optimized for voiceover microphone. Not a lot of microphones made for voiceover. As we were talking about, all this stuff is made for making music, but not the Harlan Hogan VO1A, which is a great mic, and it's our desk mic here at Voiceover Body Shop. Also, he has those great headphones, the optimized for voiceover headphones. They've got memory foam, leather pads on them. They're very isolating. They're really comfortable, but most importantly, they have very, very flat response. You're hearing exactly what you record, and that's why you have something like that. If you need good headphones, those are good. And they're not plastic either. They're actually made of metal, so they're the best ones you can find for when you're doing voiceover work. But how do you get there? It's real easy. All you have to do is go to the bottom of our page that you're watching the show on now, if you're not on Facebook, but then that might make you want to go to our page. Go down there to the bottom and you'll see all our sponsors. There's a picture there of Harlan Hogan talking into his Portabooth Pro, another great product that you can find there. You click on that, it'll take you right to voiceoveressentials.com, and then you can just peruse all the stuff. And if it's not something you see in his immediate catalog of specialty products, you can probably find it and get it on Amazon through voiceoveressentials.com. So go over there right now, buy all of his stuff, and pay every last cent you have to Harlan Hogan, because it will be worth it in the long run. Thanks for being a sponsor, Harlan. We just love having you here on VoiceOver Body Shop. We'll be right back with your questions for Mike DelGaudio right after this.
Learn the latest in voiceover technology,
business,
and good old-fashioned acting.
Hey, Paul, I really like your suit. Where did you get it? It looks good on you.
This is VOBS.
And we are back. We're talking with Mike DelGaudio, the booth junkie, and it's great talking to you, Mike. One of the things is you sound like one of us, and because you've been looking at all this equipment. But a lot of our listeners and viewers have questions for you. Leading off with Paul Stefano, who has a multiplicative amount of questions here. He says, Mike, what is the one piece of equipment that really surprised you?
The Behringer Euphoria UHC 404 interface. I expected that to be a dog, and it was great. It was great for an interface. I think at the time it was like $70. I was shocked. And so that interface right off the bat was one that was really surprisingly good. The preamps were nice and quiet. It sounded great. It was effortless to hook up, worked great. I use a Mac. It worked great with my Mac. I was really surprised. That one was a very pleasant surprise, because I didn't expect to like that one at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a little secret. Well, the mics we use on our show in the studio are running through a Behringer mixer. It's actually an XR12R, the X Air series. It's digitally controlled mixer. But one of the reasons why even some of the less expensive Behringer stuff sounds so great is because they acquired Midas, which makes makes really big high-end consoles, and they trickled down the preamps and some other technologies into these really inexpensive stuff.
Wow.
And I think that's one of them, that piece you're talking about. And yeah, Behringer ain't the Behringer we used to think of. They've come a long way. What's your opinion, also from Paul, what's your opinion on processing for auditions? Do you put a little special sauce on your audition files?
No, but I don't send them raw either. So I don't know if that's special sauce or not, but I try, and for auditions, I try and give them the exact same chain that I give them for the final, and it's very, very light. It's just super light. I use a noise gate to manage the breath, and if I rustle in the booth, a little tiny bit of gate to just manage the in between. Luckily, I've got a really low noise floor in the booth, so I don't have to worry about gating out hiss or anything like that. So I use a gate. I use a little bit of EQ just to make sure in case there's traffic right out there. So I will roll off a little low end. So it's not raw, but it sounds raw. But I don't like hype it up or anything like that. I don't like really compress it or anything like that. I don't normalize it. I just send it with my standard chain, exactly what you're going to get.
Well, the sound you have in that booth sounds like you having a conversation with us. Your mic technique is on, the booth is acoustically right, and that's all that really matters for that kind of stuff. Paul has another question. He says, and I think we'd all ask this, living in Pittsburgh, do you think you're missing out on large market jobs?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure I am. Most of the, I have an agent here in town, and most of the gigs they're regional. Discovery Channel ain't coming to Pittsburgh to look at talent for anything like that. So yeah, I sure am. Maybe if I had representation in LA or New York, I would get a chance at more of those gigs. But yeah, so I'd say out in this market, but that doesn't mean I'm not earning. I'm just, it's a little bit of a different hustle. It's a little bit of a different grind. I like to think that my ocean is a little bluer here. The competition isn't nearly so stiff for when I'm in auditions. And I'm happy doing radio and TV commercials in the regional markets too. So, will that change? Yeah, maybe as I want to grow and expand my business and to plunge into the redder oceans in the major markets. So yeah,
There's his audio.
There we go.
There we go. He's back.
Mike, I fat fingered a button, and I needed to apologize.
Thought I was saying something I wasn't supposed to be saying.
This is the issue with remote switching the show. There's a bit of a latency and a lag when I hit buttons. So sorry about that, man.
Yeah. What were you saying?
No worries. No. So I probably am missing out on some. I don't get Budweiser coming to offer me gigs. So yeah, I'm sure I'm missing out on some of those.
Okay. And his last question, he had a few there, Paul, but Paul's a good interview. Yeah. Do you have plans to make Booth Junkie a paid channel? If not, what are the plans for the future?
A paid channel that you'd have to pay to watch? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think so. Where I take it from here, I haven't really. I just want to expose. I just want, grow the audience. But no, it does fine. It does exactly what I want it to do right now. So I don't feel compelled to, try and get people to subscribe or to tie themselves to me. If they want to make a donation, that's fine. But no, right now I plan to keep it just. I'm a firm believer in just giving it away. I'm going to keep giving it away. If they need to talk to me individually, I'm happy to do like the limited coaching that I do. People ask me to do the same thing, I guess, that they ask you to do with your specimen cup. And it's not really it's not my strong suit, trying to diagnose what people. And so I'll leave that for you, Dan. I'll leave that stuff.
You rock.
But no, I don't really have plans to close it or anything like that.
Mike, you're not selling anything. That's when I watched Booth Funk, I kept watching the videos and going, wait a minute. And when is he going to sell something?
Yeah, really.
When is he going to promote his business or show his affiliate links and blah blah blah? You're truly not selling anything. You're just out there to share this knowledge. It's just it's really awesome.
Yeah, the one place that I confess to making, a few extra pennies is, the first link in the description. If the mic I'm talking about or piece of equipment, if it's available on Amazon, I'll send you over there. And if it makes a little bit, I'm just giving it away.
That's awesome.
Right.
This one's from Jeff Plunk, and he says, "What is your hardware or vocal chain? So, what are you using in your day-to-day recordings for your voice actors, your mic interface, and such?"
Yeah, so I do for my YouTube videos. I try and keep it, aside from whatever microphone I'm testing, I try and keep it prosumer. So it goes from here. I have a Rolls headphone amp here in the booth just so I can hear myself. It goes over to my Audient ID22 and into Reaper. Really straightforward. And that really does serve most of my purposes. I do have, George, as you know, I bought an Avalon preamp. And so right now you're hearing me through the Avalon preamp. So for my production work, I have the vacuum tube preamp because I like the way it sounds, and that's just chained into the ID22. And I've got a couple of other preamps that I'm experimenting with that that people have recommended to me. The people that I trust have recommended for me to get vintage stuff. I have a CLM Dynamics DB400. It's a 4-channel preamp, of which I use one whole channel of it. So I have one of those that I recently got. So I'm experimenting with that. And I have a DBX 286S that I use on my channel from time to time because I really like that from a prosumer perspective. It's really affordable. It's a good alternative to something like a Cloud Lifter or a Fed Head. So in that realm, but generally, whatever mic and the ID22 it has been perfect for really anything that I needed. It's been perfect.
Let me ask you this: are you plugging your Avalon output into the mic or line input of the ID22, or are you plugging into the return jack?
I hope this isn't a trick question because it goes into the return. Hopefully That's not a trick question. It goes into the return.
Ding, ding, ding. You win.
Oh, good.
We'll send you a voiceover body shop, a charger block. Can never have enough of those. The one and only Tremaine Kendrick Mosley, who we saw in VO Atlanta this weekend. Great to see you there, Trey. Mike, do you use different types of mics depending on the type of session? Or at least what's your choices on that?
Yeah, so I do tend to go between 3. Generally, my repertoire of microphones has expanded, so I, sometimes be like, I'm going to try this other thing. I will confess that my New York Times reading is a lot of times where my mic experiments go because it ends up on Audible and they process it. So I can kind of get away with it there. And so a lot of the microphones that I test, if you listen to the New York Times on Saturday morning and find my articles, you might be hearing one of the recent mics. But generally speaking, I have the MKH 416 microphone that I really I like to use. And that's one of my favorites because it's super easy from a copy perspective. So it can be out of my way. It sounds fantastic. It's quiet as a mouse. I get no street noise. My furnace doesn't interfere with it. That's great. If I want to sound for radio commercials, for a lot of radio imaging, even though that's like a radio imaging mic, I use my my TLM 103. I use that one a lot because I love the proximity effect. I can get right up on that mic and I can sound big and huge and authoritative. And I use the E100S for quite a bit for narration, for acting where I need to sound like a regular person. I don't want to boom, or I don't want to. I don't want to sound extra bassy or anything like that. I will often put the E100S in the mount too. Those are the 3. Those are my 3 go-tos. And if that, for whatever reason, doesn't do it, then I go to any of the wide variety of other mics that I've acquired over the past couple of years.
All right. We got time for like 1, maybe 2 more questions. And Deidre Holly asks, so Mike, I've talked to folks that have 1 monitor and some that have 2. So do I buy a pair of JBLs or a single? And why?
Well, that's an excellent question. I think for voiceover, if you're only going to be doing voiceover, I think you can get away with one. I don't have any reason why you wouldn't be able to. I record everything in mono. I don't know that there's a reason for there to be two. But if you are going to be over a stereo music bed or anything like that, I have two, because I also listen to music over my monitors. And so I think two is more natural for me, but I think you can get away with one. If you just want to buy one, I don't see any reason why you couldn't, if you're just doing it to monitor your voice.
All righty.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I'm going to squeeze in one last one.
Yeah. Without the potato chips, though.
Without the potato chips. Sorry. I needed to eat before the show. So rude of me. This one's from Maxine Dunn. She says, thanks for the amazing interview, but this is, about your production. How many hours a week do you spend working on these videos versus doing, your voice work? It must be a significant chunk out of your time, out of your day.
The videos take a chunk of time. I will do them on a night that I'm not booked. So if I'm not, I generally try and do them after the traffic outside has subsided. So I record them a lot at night, and then I'll edit them usually. I go back and rewatch them to make sure that there isn't anything horrifying in there, and then I'll edit them the next day. So each video, probably 15-minute video might take me 3 or 4 hours to do, maybe 5 hours, depending. So I just squeeze it in. Sometimes I'm really super productive on videos, and sometimes they might go a couple of weeks. YouTube probably hates me for that, because they like consistency. I'm not as consistent as I should be, but I just squeeze it in. I squeeze it in whenever I can.
All righty. Well, Mike, I've been looking forward to having you on. This was really great. It's great to see how you do your stuff, and it was a lot of fun having you. We appreciate it.
An honor and a privilege. I'm so grateful to be invited onto the channel. It's been a ton of fun. Thank you so much.
All right. Come out and visit us out here in California on a Monday night. We'd love to have you in here. All righty. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. We'll be right back to say goodbye right after this. Don't go anywhere quite yet.
Your dynamic voiceover career requires extra resources to keep moving ahead. Now there's one place where you can explore everything the voiceover industry has to offer. That place is voiceoverextra.com. Whether you're just exploring a voiceover career or a seasoned veteran ready to reach that next professional level, stay in touch with market trends, coaching, products, and services while avoiding scams and other pitfalls. VoiceOver Extra has hundreds of articles, free resources, and training that will save you time and help you succeed. Learn from the most respected talents, coaches, and industry insiders when you join the online sessions, bringing you the most current information on topics like audiobooks, auditioning, casting, home studio setup and equipment, marketing, performance techniques, and much more. It's time to hit your one-stop daily resource for voiceover success. Sign up for a free subscription to newsletters and reports and get 14 bonus reports on how to ace the voiceover audition. It's all here at voiceoverextra.com. That's voiceoverextra.com.
And we're back. Got to send out special wishes again to our great friend Pat Sweeney. Give him a pat on the back. He's going through some treatment right now, and everybody's praying for him and sending him lots of love. And we wish him all the best up there in Toronto. So good luck there, Pat. Who's on next on our show? Next week, you want to be here. We've got Carlos Alazraqui. This guy's been on everything. You thought Roger Rose was on everything. This guy's been on everything too. And I know there'll be a crowd of people here for that. So make sure you're here for that. March 19th, Dan O'Day will be here to talk about his course on audiobooks. March 26th, the lovely and extremely talented and very bright Dr. Reena Gupta, who is she is a rhino. She's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. An otorhinolaryngologist from Osborne Head and Neck here in L.A. And we'll be off on April 2nd, and then Tim Friedlander will be out here on April 9th. Who are our donors of the week?
Yes, I've been queuing them up here. I've got donations from Tracy H. Reynolds, Andrew Kaufman, Eric Aragoni, Stephanie Sutherland. That's kind of a new name to me. Diana Birdsall. Hey, we saw her in the airport.
I saw her on the airplane.
Here's one that's kind of a new one to me. Royal Tartan Holdings. Somebody named Sandy. Thank you. Heather Masters, Jorge Infante.
Jorge.
That seems to be the loop. And then we go back to the prior week where some folks donate pretty much every week, like Andrew Kaufman and Eric Aragoni. And it's, man, super appreciated of you guys to do that. It's really nice.
Yeah. You've got a new podcast too. It's real geeky.
Oh yeah. And we do have a new podcast. It's me and a few other fellas in the business. Darren Robertson, who's in Sydney, Australia. He's a producer and engineer. Andrew Peters, who's kind of somewhat of the brainchild behind it. He's a voice talent in Melbourne area. And then Robert Marshall of Source Elements. The four of us together formed the Pro Audio Suite. And we talk pro audio stuff, but there's also the occasional interview and mixed in there as well. And that's purely a podcast. That's no video content whatsoever, a pure podcast.
All righty. And of course, you can access the show logs when the show gets posted on YouTube. Thanks to Jack DelGaudio for doing that. We have a podcast. It's on everything, anywhere you can get a podcast. And I know there's a lot of people that access the show that way. We're on here 6 o'clock Pacific time every Monday night. You want to be here? Where do they write, George?
You can join us by emailing the guys at VOBS.tv. Let us know you want to be in the audience, and we'll let you in if you have the secret knock.
Yeah, and handshake. It's a combination. You have to do both. Also, show us your booths. Gotta see your booths. We want to see the pictures of your studios, like we talked at the top of the show. So I don't have to hang out in my virtual living room here with George over my shoulder. And next week with Carlos Alazraki here, it's going to be rocking. So just write to us if you think you can be here. Thanking our sponsors, Harlan Hogan's Voiceover Essentials.
Oh, Voiceover Extra.
There you go. Source Elements.
VO2GoGo.
VoiceActorWebsites.com. And
J. Michael Collins Demos for providing an uninterrupted live stream and bandwidth.
And an uninterrupted line of mimosas. My goodness, he had a lot of that stuff lined up at VO Atlanta. Got to thank a bunch of people. Thanks to Marcy for letting us be out here in the garage.
Thanks to Maxine Dunn for letting me sit in the living room and take over part of the house for this.
Well, that's always great. Our great producer, Catherine Kernan, for finding us great guests like Mike DelGaudio and Carlos Alazraki next week. Sue Merlino, our amazing floor director, technical director, and Jack DelGaudio for the show notes. And of course, Lee Pinney for simply being Lee Pinney.
And you may have missed Jack Daniel.
Oh,
possibly.
Oh, there he is.
Jack Daniel is doing the rundown.
That's
for us
right.
Tonight, taking care of all your questions.
Yeah,
thanks everybody.
We don't see it. He's not here tonight. He's here virtually. I forgot he was there.
That's right.
Doing a great job.
Thank you,
appreciate
Jack.
it. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks again to Mike DelGaudio for a great interview and some really cool insight into his world. And, this isn't an easy business. You got to study. You got to know all the details to make it work. And George and I are here to help you out every week here on VoiceOver Body Shop. So I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is VoiceOver
Body Shop.
Or VOBS. See you next week, guys.